times brothers fight for the same child on paternity court.
I know the powers me and my brother possesses, so I know, you know, if you like one, you like the other, Yarn.
He look like me, she look like me, my other sisters and brothers look like me, and we all look like our dad. He has no resemblance.
Two identical twin brothers, one child, and a whole lot of drama. A perfect recipe for chaos, if you ask me. The Wiggins brothers brought the defendant to court to figure out who was the father among the two of them and put an end to this question. However, the baby mama claimed there was only one father, as she doesn't remember sleeping with the other. Wow.
You both claim you had sexual relations with the defendant, Cecily Williams, and say you believe one of you may have fathered her child.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Williams, you recall having sex with only one of the twins.
Yes, Your Honor.
Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're about to land smack dab in the middle of a real-life soap opera. So the brothers had a hip, happening life, and it's a miracle they haven't come to court sooner, given the type of activities they were having. The Vegas life. And yet, Miss Williams claimed she was only busy with one twin.
I never had sex with him ever. Look at him. Why would I want to have sex with you?
I look like
you
him.
You need to stop lying. You need to stop lying. He's a better looking twin. He's a better looking twin.
And you see
you
that?
Don't have anything
and you
going
see
for
that's
yourself.
the thing. That's my thing. I know the powers me and my brother possesses, so I know,
Powers?
you know,
Powers?
you like one, you like the other, Yarn.
Well, these guys sure lived by a bro code. A questionable code, sure, but a code nonetheless. And that was the reason Mr. Marcus ended up with a baby mama, because according to him, the other twin already had a girlfriend at the time. Yup, a girlfriend and this party lifestyle. Go figure.
My brother, he actually had a girlfriend at the time. It's a code of honor we have.
Oh, I'd love to hear that.
So if it's
Doesn't sound like anything is honorable about this party, but I'm listening. What is the code of honor?
well, basically what he's saying is, if that ain't your girlfriend, then it's open play. She's
Okay,
open.
I
She's
get
up
it.
for
All
a
right.
twin.
Next up, we got to hear from Mr. Bryan dropping some major relationship tea. It had been established that Miss Williams previously had been with one twin. She had feelings for him, and when you introduce alcohol into the mix, ding ding ding, a night to remember. Or in this case, not so much, I guess.
That's
nothing.
the thing. That's the
You
thing.
wasn't there,
My
so you
problem
cannot
is,
say anything.
I know her. She likes to
You
have
know
sex.
me.
It wasn't hard.
You know
no,
me.
I know that
you try to have sex. No.
She likes-
You try to have sex with me. Where were you think
That's
you
'cause
was
you
at
like
last
it.
night?
She could be mad at me, yelling at me all day, and come the end of the night, I slide in, and she's not gonna turn me down.
Well, we finally established that stupid people make stupid decisions. And while the baby mama believes she was positive she hadn't played the tango game with the other twin, her memory was still fuzzy. Cue the judge's lecture.
Why is a young lady sitting up with boys in a hotel room getting so drunk that you don't know whether or not you had sex with one twin or another?
I was young then. I made stupid decisions and things like that. So I can't really, justify my actions because I was young and I did do stupid things.
Once a second is always a second. True in this case, as Miss Williams had been the second choice to Mr. Bryan, and so her baby received the same treatment as such. Furthermore, the said girlfriend also bore a baby around that time, so the baby daddy had his hands full.
And I decided to give her a call. I gave her a call. She said, yeah, I'm pregnant. I went to the doctor. I got the paper of the ultrasound and everything. I'm like, okay, go ahead. Meet me at this place. Bring the paper. Because I wanted to see her, and I wanted to see the paper. So about an hour later, we meet up, and she says, oh, I forgot the paper.
So the news of the pregnancy was not well received, and after ghosting each other for a while, these guys ran into each other. And so the baby was formally introduced to them. And yet, the baby daddy still denied it.
When she showed me the phone, I'm looking at the pictures, I'm going through them. I'm like, okay, she did have him. He don't look nothing like me.
You don't look nothing like him, Your Honor. But the next day, Your Honor, this is the picture of him and our son. The next day after I told him he had a baby.
Oh boy, it was about to get even juicier. Mr. Marcus made some old claims, insisting he had not only one, but two encounters with the baby mama. And so when he got to know about the pregnancy, a light went off in his head as well. But the baby mommy still straight up denied any kind of rendezvous with him.
I seen her a couple of weeks later at the smoke shop, and I took her down in the car again.
No one had sex with
So when my brother initially told me that she was pregnant, that's when I light went off in my head. Like, wow, well, if she's saying you did that, then it's probably a possibility that I could be.
You thought the drama was over? You were sorely mistaken, my friend, because the birth certificate just threw another curveball into the mind. Yup, no Wiggins brother was mentioned under the father's name. There was a whole other name.
He asked me, can I put my son's last name as his, so it could be his, and he could be in the last generation.
Okay, hold on. That's not what I'm asking you, though. You have never slept with another person other than these two twins. So there's no other man that could potentially be your child's father.
No.
The whole baby daddy battle turned upside down after that revelation. Miss Williams knew the baby daddy's name, and yet the birth certificate had no name. Following this train of thought, the baby mama ended up going on a rant, only to be stopped by Judge Lake.
Is this child still deserve to know who his father was if you were so sure? What it seems like to me is that maybe you weren't so sure.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
What do you have to say before the results?
What she has to understand is that I was there with my daughter from day one.
Mr. Brian Wiggins was being turned as a deadbeat daddy, and apparently that didn't sit too well with him, so he immediately came to his defense. He already had another daughter, and he was a good dad to her. However, what Miss Williams expected from him wasn't too fair in his eyes.
I'm just meeting him.
Was a part of the issue because you had doubt.
Yes.
So that's what this courtroom is about, is getting down to the bottom of the situation, but also alleviating the doubt. And there's a lot of it here.
Pulling the curtains on this paternity drama, we reach the end of the court proceedings. Their testimonies seem to be going nowhere, as everything was child's play to these guys. And yet, baby Zaylin was the one suffering from the loss of a father. Here goes nothing.
This court has determined that Mr. Brian Wiggins is the biological father. Now you seem emotional.
I have built, over the past year or two, I have built a relationship with him. I felt it couldn't go as close as me and my daughter the whole time.
The courtroom drama continues, as this brother-sister duo was back in the paternity court. But this time, they were here to prove the defendant wrong that he was their sibling. However, Mr. Triplett had high hopes for today's results.
The results from that case prove that Creedell Jones is your father. Now you and Mr. Jones stand united together to protect your father's legacy and musical estate by proving that Mr. Triplett is not your sibling.
A paternity mystery that was decades in the making. For real. For 50-some years, Mr. Jones had never heard of the defendant being his sibling. Not even once. Mr. Jones's father had even signed his and his brother's certificate, but never mentioned Mr. Triplett.
We went on trips together. My father was there, my mother was there. I've never even heard of Mr. Triplett. My dad signed his name on my birth certificate, as well as my brother Irvin's birth certificate.
You never, ever had any idea this man would be 2 weeks older than you?
Right.
While the plaintiffs never knew about the defendant, Mr. Triplett knew Mr. Jones as his father his entire life. And he even managed to recall 2 occasions that he even met the gentleman. Now that's something.
He pulled up in a car and he kind of pat me on the head, handed me $100 and went up to talk with my mom. And I left. And then the other occasion was he came, but this time my relatives were there, and he spoke with my relatives. They knew him and I guess these other gentlemen. I didn't know who they were, and I was able to recognize from the first time.
Miss Yarborough was once in a similar situation as Mr. Triplett, and yet she also had never heard of him being their sibling. Ever. Now, there could have been a lot of reasons why he chose to come forward now with this revelation. But the defendant claimed he just wanted an answer to where he belonged.
I mean, the only ones that I've heard of were Mr. Jones and his brother, Kubi, when I got here, but I've never heard of him. I don't know where he come from. We just been through this, and now here we are again, somebody claiming that they're, a heir, a rightful heir, whatever. And I mean, if you are, that's fine. Maybe you think it's a lot of money here. I don't know.
A clash of motivations and beliefs. The brother-sister duo wasn't buying anything coming out of Mr. Triplett's mouth. Uh-oh. And they believed he had ulterior motives. That being, money, 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 money.
That picture there was shown to me and everybody that I know always said that I look like him, so
Who's told you that over the years?
my family.
And so
Hey,
after
guys,
witnessing their appearance in this courtroom previously, you felt it was important to get the answers you needed as well.
Right.
Moving on, the plaintiffs further presented evidence that had all the names of the siblings who are inheritors of their father's legacy. And yup, you guessed it right, the defendant's name was nowhere to be found. In light of this, Judge Lake took help from a professional in this matter.
My name, Angela's name, and my brother Irvin, we are the rightful heirs that have been proven to be children of Creedale Jones.
This evidence you're saying does not list Mr. Triplett's name anywhere.
Correct.
Not even as a possible heir.
Even that's a possible. Making me think like he's coming out of the woodworks like anyone would if they know it's about some money.
Next up, we get another Mr. Jones coming forward as a witness. Now, he believed Mr. Triplett was their sibling, and he goes into quite some detail as to why he reached that conclusion. Apparently, the legendary singer was free-spirited and had a lot of children.
1972. I ran across an ad at work one day featuring one of the Shylights members. I looked at that in that magazine, read the article, and thought about Dad. I wondered, was he still alive? I sent an email to their PR agency, telling her who I was. I hadn't seen my father. I wanted to find him. She told me she would forward the email to the proper person.
Well, it appeared the older sibling was quite a stubborn man. Even after the witness's testimony, he still stood firm on his claim and blew the same old horn. That there was no resemblance.
He looked like me, she looked like me, my other sisters and brothers look like me, and we all look like our dad. He has no resemblance.
Your father's genes are very strong.
Very strong.
How about you, Miss Yarbrough? Does it make you feel differently to hear this man say that his mother was brought up to him years ago?
A little bit.
The family drama really was a tangled web of secrets that went way, way back. Mr. Triplett wanted answers regarding where he belonged. So let's go ahead and put him out of his misery and give him the answers that he came here for.
It has been determined by this court, Michael Jones, you are related.
Oh. I apologize, bro.
It's all right. Thank you.
Miss Slade brought the defendant to court because he denied paternity. If only it was simple, right? Apparently, Miss Slade accepted sleeping with the boyfriend's friend. However, Mr. Simpson claimed it was not only him and her friend that she slept with. And so the doubt began.
You argue that not only did Miss Slade admit to having sex with one of your friends, but there was also a third man who you believe could be the father of her son.
Yes, ma'am.
That man you claim is your brother.
Mr. Simpson certainly had a wealth of information about the baby mama that he just could not wait to deliver. Apparently, he had a bunch of credible sources for this info, while the plaintiff denied the rest of it and only accepted what she had stated before.
We actually have a conversation at my grandmother's house with her and the other guy. They sit there, I bring them together like I'm gonna do. If it's something I heard, I'm gonna bring you together. I wanna know the truth.
All right.
I asked them about it in my grandmother's kitchen, and both of them sitting there looking stupid. Did y'all have sex? Y'all done did something while I was
He's
gone?
throwing stuff on me, Your Honor, because that's all he did.
Next up, we got to hear why the baby daddy strongly suspected Miss Slade also slept with his brother, and he set the scene out pretty graphically. The guy had a flair for the dramatic, it seemed.
My brother get oral sex from another woman. So now I thinks to myself, okay, you telling this story, y'all telling me that, oh yeah, okay, old girl was doing this and doing that, but you sitting here watching. So that's the first time I'm like, really? And then they go on to finish the story off that they stayed there.
Well, it was time for Mr. Leah to grace the court with his presence, and he had a lot to share about the baby mama. Well, they all had a lot to say about that woman that they themselves chose to have a fun time with as well. Double standards much. Let's hear what he had to say, though.
We slept together. It was a party that I threw. You know, everybody was drinking, having a good time. And it wasn't just me who had slept with her. You know what I'm saying? I went to the room with her first, and I came back out and went back about my business. But it was other guys in and out that same night.
The alleged baby daddy had a question for Mr. Leah, though, and he wanted an answer for that. Which, quite frankly, he deserved, as she was his woman after all. The guy had no justification for this. No surprise there. Saw that one coming a mile away. Though, he did end up stating the brother could be the father.
Who do you believe
I don't even believe
is the father of Sir Moses?
tell the truth, when he came out with the complexion and everything, he looked a lot like Mr. Jones.
That's Mr. Simpson's brother.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? He dark-skinned and she dark-skinned. You come out with a baby that light, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing but a couple of light-skinned cats in the area that we live in. You know, we live in a small community.
All right. Now, Mr. Simpson's mother also accompanied her son to court, and she wanted to enlighten the court about her perspective. She had no love for the plaintiff and laid the blame with her. Trust the judge to call her out on her double standards. She definitely didn't like being schooled like that.
He and Mr. Lee both
had sex with Miss Slade.
Please, I don't know what's going on.
On the same
They are
day
lying.
at
Oh,
the
me.
same time.
They are lying.
Ms. Jones, listen, while you condemn Miss Slade, don't your sons have a part to play in this as well?
Just me.
Let's put an end to this family drama, shall we? We heard their testimonies, their evidence, and witnesses. The facts rule the paternity court, and those were sealed shut in those dang envelopes. Here we go!
The child's father has been determined to be Mr. Simpson.
Please take care of your baby. Please help.
I'm gonna be a father.